Hello Channel NITT viewers, I am DS your psychologist and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. In this episode, we are going to zoom in and discover more about Te-Extraverted Thinking. So I asked a few friends to describe TE in a few words. They usually come up with the following answers. TE is very solution based. So a TE user likes to think of solutions. This is only one aspect of it.
The only one that I have ever known.
So TE is not only solution focused, it is also future focused. So a TE user has this tendency to think about the future. Also, a TE user is very likely to make decisions based on the big picture. Also, incidentally, TE is also the ability to think from another person's point of view. In a few of our previous episodes, we have emphasized that TE and FI are a cognitive pair. So this means that in order for you to use TE, you have to suppress FI. So what this also means is that FI users may have a hard time understanding TE users because these two functions are opposites. So I have identified two things that an FI user may be finding very difficult to do, so they are very unlikely to do these two things that a TE user might do. The first on my list is TE users are very likely to sacrifice themselves or pull out from a competition when they realize that there is a better contender. So although TE can be very competitive, they actually see the big picture. If another person is better suited for you as your partner, we can just back off because we see that you can be happy with him or her. So we sacrifice ourselves. So you might call this stupid, but we call this love. So another thing that an FI user might not do, but a TE user might do, is that the TE user might work with an enemy to pull down our common enemy. From an FI user's point of view, no, they will never work with a goddamn enemy because an enemy is an enemy. Well, a TE user might think quite differently in that regard. If we have a common enemy, then we can work together.
I'm looking for a partner, someone who gets things fixed.
So we have four MBTI types that are considered TE users: the ENTJ, INTJ, ESTJ, and the ISTJ. So the ESTJ and the ENTJ are TE DOMs. This means that their first function, their dominant function, is TE. I am an ENTJ, so my dominant function is also TE, and I am a TE DOM. So what this means is that whenever I encounter a problem or whenever I have a thought, TE is the one that is activated first. My brain is wired that way. So is TE a good function to have? In this episode, I am going to talk about two positive sides of TE and two inconveniences that the TE has given me. So let's start with the positive side of TE first. TE is very future oriented and it has helped me in a lot of ways. I remember when I was younger, after my lessons at the junior college, I roamed around. I could have gone home, but no, I roam around. Why did I do that? That is because of my TE. I am very future oriented. If I go home punctually every day, then this becomes a habit. My mom would question me every time I go home late in the future. So, being future oriented, I already foresee this problem. So, sometimes even when I have nothing to do, I roam and stray outside, I loiter outside. I take a bus from one interchange to the other interchange and take from one interchange back to the other interchange so as to waste time. Not really waste time, I listen to music in the bus, I also can study in the bus, it's just that I don't want to go home.
I want to grow up, I'm a toy biscuit.
It's very simple, I want to create this habit of me going home later so that it becomes something common and my mom won't question. True enough, as I became an adult, I can come home at 11 p.m, 12 a.m, even 1 a.m, no questions asked. Well, a lot of people have a very bad impression of the ESTJ and the ENTJ, these TE DOMs. Why? Because many people think that TE DOMs are very harsh, very rude, they are very demanding, and they expect a lot from others. Well, this may be true in a way. However, I want to stress that TE as a function is actually very pro-social, which means to say it is very pro-society. I can tell you, a TE user tends not to be late for meetings. Why? Because they value the time of other people. Regarding punctuality and lateness, I have this example to share. I used to be a teacher in charge of the student council, and I always tell my student councillors, do not be late. Why? Presume there are 30 of us in the room waiting for you, and you caused the meeting to be late by 5 minutes. You did not waste 5 minutes, you waste 150 minutes. So a TE user tends to think of the collective. Just now I mentioned that a TE user is very likely to be very civic-minded, so I have a few examples on this. First, if you have a TE user taking public transport, they are unlikely to talk loudly because they are civic-minded. In Singapore, it is considered considerate to stand on the left side of the escalator when you are using it. So as a TE user, I have always been reminding my friends to actually stand on the left when we are going up on the escalator together, not to stand beside me. Why? Because we may be obstructing someone else and they might be in a hurry. So we are always thinking about others, and that is a trait of TE. But of course, this trait can also give us a lot of inconvenience. So now I'm going to talk about the inconvenience of TE. So I am not too sure whether it is only me as a TE user that actually experiences these inconveniences. If you also have experienced this kind of inconveniences, do comment below and tell me. So what are some of these inconveniences? Long ago in Singapore, when a person calls you, regardless of whether they are calling from a landline or from a public phone, they have to pay for this call. Whenever I receive a phone call, I am always hurrying to hang up. So I will say, okay, is that all? The person wants to talk, but I just want to hang up. Why? Because I am actually thinking from the other person's point of view. They are paying for this phone call and I feel uneasy about it. Actually, I would rather call them, but it was my parents who's paying for the phones, and I also think from my parents' point of view. So in the end, I always seem to be in a hurry to hang up. Actually, now to think about it, I would consider this a form of overthinking. And this overthinking has caused a lot of my friends to think that I don't want to talk to them on the phone. Why? Because I'm always in this hurry to hang up.
Don't think too much, it's simple.
So for a TE user, it may be quite common for you to inconvenience yourself so as to give other people a convenience. So there were a lot of times I proposed to go all the way up to get something when the person actually wanted to bring it down for me. I said, no, you don't come out, I will go up instead. So I waste my own time or make the extra effort so that other people do not have to put in this extra effort for me because I feel apologetic about it. So why do I have this kind of thinking? First of all, I am thinking that as a TE user, I am paying it forward. I am trying to build and forge a relationship. So I don't mind sacrificing first.
Just pay it forward. 3 big favors for 3 other people.
Actually, for a TE user, it is very common that they want to sacrifice first as a form of goodwill. Of course, in a way, they can be taken for granted. So this TE inconvenience can be really ridiculous. I sometimes even find myself running across the road because a car is waiting for me at the zebra crossing. So I will think that, okay, let me hurry up. Maybe the person inside the car is rushing off somewhere. Let me hurry up because a bus is waiting and there are 15 or 16 people in the bus and they need to go to school. Sometimes I think this is too much. But do you also think like that, TE users? I am very happy after learning MBTI that this is just a trait and manifestation of TE in me. Because I am a TE dom, I tend to think about the bigger picture, I tend to think about other people's perspective. So this is just a side effect of TE. Long ago, before I learned the MBTI, I actually thought that why am I doing this is because I have a low self-esteem. But no. I don't have a low self-esteem. So a second problem with TE users, especially TE DOMs, is that they can't accept credit gracefully. So some people can tell me, oh, you are such a great teacher, or you have done such a good job. As a TE user, I always say, it's my job. I get paid for this. So this is quite silly because if you have done a good job, then you should take credit for it. Nonetheless, as a TE user, we know that we are being paid for it. This is our job to be professional and we are delivering based on it and we get paid for it. So we will say things like, no, we get paid for it, so it's okay. So personally, now I am also trying to learn to accept compliments gracefully. Yeah, even though it's really my job. Talking about that, TE users tend to be very good employees. They are going to be very good citizens because they are civic minded and they are likely to be very good guests. What do I mean by that? FE users tend to be very good hosts. TE users tend to be very good guests. If you feed me anything, I will finish all of them up. Why? Because even though it's not nice, I will have to finish that. I am thinking from the host point of view. They have prepared this meal, they spent so much time to prepare this. I must eat them. I must finish it all to show my appreciation to the host. Of course, there is one exception. Unless you are a very close friend, then if I don't like to eat this, I will say I don't want to eat this. But if you are somebody that I just got to know, I will tend to be very polite. So this is TE for you. They are usually very polite people. Not very harsh. They can be very harsh because so TE users as employers can be very harsh because they paid you to do it. So they expect you to do it. It's also a TE trait. So similarly, as a TE employee, I was paid for it, I do my best. So if I am a TE boss, TE employer, TE manager, TE supervisor, you get paid for this. Even though I am not a payer, you must do your job. So it goes by the same logic, which is why some people will think that we are overly harsh. Well, I hope that this episode has given you more information about TE, so you get to know TE users better. TE users are usually very nice people. We will be producing a lot more episodes like this one down the road, so do watch out for them. If you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can continue to add value to you. Okay, I am going to sign off now and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye. Bye.